Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Eric Moore & Associates Insights webinar. I'm Donna Riccardi, partner at EMA and leader of our Buildings and Construction specialty. Today's topic, Building Brand Loyalty Among Contractors, Risks and Rewards, is an exploration of a subject that often sparks debate across the aisles of brand loyalty is alive, well, and worth the investment versus you can't build loyalty in a specs-oriented channel source product environment. In the next 45 minutes or so, we'll delve into the idea of brand loyalty in the building and construction category, reference EMA's proprietary research along with recent one-on-one interviews on the topic, and hear from a panel of practitioners and loyalty experts in manufacturing, distribution, contracting, and consulting. And you'll have a chance to ask our panel questions throughout the program. Hosting us today is John Favalo, Managing Partner with EMA's Group B2B, and himself a seasoned brand builder in the construction category. John, please take it away.
Donna, you flatter me, but I thank you regardless. And thanks to all of you for joining us today as we discover perspectives on that tricky task of building brand loyalty among contractors. Now, we all know how lots of Harley owners express love and loyalty for their bikes. And wouldn't it be great if contractors showed the same kind of love for our construction products? Well then, is loyalty building really possible? Is it worth the investment of time and money and people? And if it is, how's it done? And are there any best practices that we can use and build upon? Well, we're here to dig in and learn from EMA's experience and from several experts, including our panelists. Joining us today from the manufacturing side is Tawanda Long, Senior Marketing Manager at Charlotte Pipe and Foundry. From the distributor side is Bill Burns, Executive Vice President at Benfield Electric. From the contractor side, Todd Anderson, President of Fortress Enterprises, a contracting firm in Atlanta. And from the consulting and academic side is Sue Smith, Professor of Marketing Practice at the Whitman School of Management, and formerly a marketing executive at Legrand North America and Newell Rubbermaid. Panelists, thank you for being with us today.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us, John.
Thank you.
Nice to be here.
Okay, thanks, panelists, and let's get started. And I think the best place to start is with defining the territory we'll explore. You know, we can look at loyalty a few different ways. The dictionary says loyalty is a strong feeling of support or allegiance. Now that's nice, but it's not the level of love that speaks customer commitment. In that light, let's define customer loyalty. According to the Business Dictionary, customer loyalty is the likelihood of previous customers to continue to buy from a specific organization. Now that's getting more like it. This is moving more toward repeat sales and advocacy. But let's go one more step. Let's look at brand loyalty. Brand loyalty is the extent of the faithfulness of consumers to a particular brand expressed through their repeat purchases, irrespective of the marketing pressure generated by the competing brands. Now, this really sounds like the Holy Grail to me. And given this definition, you can start to see the ink on the arms now, can't you? Again, to the Business Dictionary, I say thank you for that definition. I think it's a good one for our purposes today. Okay, moving ahead. In my experience, brand loyalty has been a sharp point of discussion over the years. And I have found the idea of brand loyalty has fallen in and fallen out of favor along with the idea of building brands themselves. Let's check in with our panelists. Panelists, do you think brands are important to contractors? Are they important enough to justify the investment in creating loyalty for them? Or do you think brands are just marginal? Todd, you're the contractor in the group. How important are brands to you?
Brands matter because they can represent values that are important to me and my customers. Values like reputation, dependability, and warranty. I even use recognized brands as a marketing tools with my customers. I tell them that I'm using first-grade products on their jobs and not cutting corners. And I'll pay more for a quality product that lasts.
Thanks, Todd. Tawanda, Charlotte Pipe markets to contractors. What's your experience in terms of how important brands are to them?
John, brands are important to contractors. Our research tells us that 70% of plumbing contractors use our brand, so we have a rich group of subjects to learn from. We know that even though pipe is considered a commodity, Charlotte Pipe is a brand that contractors can count on, from consistency in manufacturing, whether it's cast iron or plastics, to fittings that fit, to our technical support. And when contractors rely on the brand to deliver products that work and fit every time, that's a brand they stick with. In fact, we found that there are many contractors that will only use Charlotte Pipe.
Impressive, Tawanda. Bill, as a distributor, you have very close relationships with contractors. Are brands important to them?
I mean, no question, but you have to frame it within a certain group of criteria. I mean, first of all, price has to be in line. I mean, that goes without saying. But beyond price, differentiation between brands or products is influential in the process. I mean, for example, Southwire has built up brand loyalty by developing unique products with inherent value, true economic value. Consequently, some contractors have made commitments to brands like Southwire to create ongoing efficiencies within their organization. With standardization, with that kind of standardization come, repetitive processes, and everything, downline can be more streamlined because of the tooling that's in place, and then, they recognize, a certain level of efficiencies with a higher volume and a lower price point, and collectively that adds up to real profits for them.
Sue, you have deep experience in building brands. What's that tell you about brands and the contractor?
Well, building brand loyalty can be perceived as a challenge because price always comes up as a major driver of choice. Yet, we just heard Todd say he'd pay more for a better brand. So building brand loyalty, in my opinion, is simply part of being in business. Wouldn't any smart business person want to have loyal customers? One of my favorite definitions of brand is a little piece of real estate in the customer's mind. So whether you invest millions or some amount far less in brand building, you still want to claim that mental territory and build a lasting relationship. You do that with your products, with your communications, with your sales organization. You do it with every interaction between a brand and the customer.
Thank you, Sue. In our one-on-one interviews, and we had several of those, we asked contractors for their opinions on brands. We spoke to a plumber, and he said that loyalty depends on, and I quote, what it is. He said that for some things, any brand will do, but for other things like kitchen and bathroom faucets, shower heads, and the like, he's loyal to Moen because Moen products are easier to work with, and they don't have all the packing or holding nuts that seem to get frozen on. We talked to an electrical contractor, and he said loyalty was influenced by his crew. He said that it's the guys in the field that really get a feel for different types of material. It's what they're used to and what they're comfortable with. So from EMA's perspective, we know that brands matter a great deal to contractors. In 3 separate studies we've conducted among various types of contractors, product brands are considered quite important. And here are a few relevant charts from all those studies we did. This graph tells us that a very high percentage of our contractor sample thought that brands were important factors for buying tools, and you can see how important they thought they were. The key factors that make tool brands important are delivering the best results and trust. Value for the price is also significant, and with this, you begin to understand the duality that is brand loyalty. Contractors have very rational reasons and very emotional reasons backing up their opinions about brand importance. But the importance of brand doesn't necessarily cut evenly across product categories. According to our research, brand attributes for materials remain important, but not as important as for tools. We believe the reason is this: the more personal nature of tools. Contractors use tools, they touch tools, they feel them. Tools can be very personal, and when it comes to loyalty, personal and emotional connections become very powerful influencers. Among the contractors we spoke to, often codes and regulations influence the selection of brands. One contractor said this, and I quote, The equipment we use is highly regulated in regard to the standards they must meet. Another one said that for a lot of state jobs, he is required to use the specified brand. However, there is latitude. A contractor will sub in a lower cost brand if, in the contractor's opinion, it provides the same results. One materials manufacturer we chatted to agreed and said contractors are prone to break spec over price. But another manufacturer said that today specialty contractors have a lot of decision-making power because oftentimes specs are not complete or they're not conclusive about brands. So these contractors provide feedback to the GC about brands or newer products that offer more productivity or better results. Tawanda, Charlotte Pipe sells materials. So what do you think about the difference we saw between materials and tools?
Well, there's no doubt that tools are more personal. At the end of the day, the crew takes their tools home or they store them in a safe place. Materials aren't as personal. I mean, they sure wouldn't take home our cast iron pipe. In fact, they install our pipe and it stays in the ground or the building, so one could say that there's a level of detachment with materials. I don't think that means that materials and brands of materials aren't critically important, though. Just ask the contractor who got stuck with products that were out of tolerance batch to batch. There's no chance of loyalty there.
And some say that brand loyalty is more like channel loyalty. Like if a contractor prefers a certain distributor, he'll opt for the brands that distributor carries. Our research indicates the critical nature of distributor relationships. Look at what contractors value in distributors versus big box stores. The service, the trust in the relationship, the knowledge, delivery, credit and training, all very important, perhaps to the point of loyalty to distributors over brands. In our personal interviews, distributors factor heavily into the loyalty equation. One manufacturer we talked to said that the role of the distributor is critical. Contractors can rely on their favorite distributor relationship to the point of brand selection. One HVAC contractor said, I prefer the personal relationship. Number one, you build trust. Number two, if you make a mistake, they can help you out. Number three, you can get a lot of help of various kinds if you build a good relationship. A manufacturer we spoke to agreed that the distributor was vital. Yes, the quality of the product was paramount, but availability was just as important. There can't be any back orders, he said. There's no loyalty when a brand costs the contractor time and or money. In several contractor interviews, availability was essential in building loyalty. If the contractor wants a certain brand, he wants it throughout the life cycle of the project. Here's a great quote. It's critical to me that the product be available at distributor locations all around town or in the areas where I work. It does me no good if what I need is in Georgia when I'm on site in South Carolina. Of course, on the other side of the aisle, LEK is a management consulting firm that specializes in several categories, one of them being building products and materials. In a recent study, LEK found that during the building slump that followed the financial meltdown, contractors preferred switching channels in order to save money on trusted brands rather than trading down to lower-priced products. Simply, buyers moved from specialty distributors to the likes of Home Depot. LEK's Bob Rourke talked about how the strength of brands and the loyalty they can enjoy could enable more pricing latitude. Now, that's good news for brand owners. But here's insight from the other side, this time from John Saucier, president of HVAC contracting firm Temperature Inc. in Memphis. John says, small residential contractors tend to be loyal to distributors. By default, the contractor's brand loyalty will be to whatever brand is carried by his favorite distributor. On the commercial side, though, brand loyalty is both short-term and fluid. Manufacturer people and policies change very frequently, and the contractor's loyalties shift with those policies. Bill, Benfield is a highly respected distributor. What are your thoughts, given these findings? What's your experience tell you?
Well, first of all, I agree with Mr. Saucier. I mean, you look at residential or smaller contractors, they rely on distributors oftentimes to do a lot of the heavy lifting. like product options, stocking levels, training. I mean, for example, small contractor outfits can't necessarily afford to invest in a lot of inventory the way that we can and do. The service that distributors provide means price becomes less of an issue in those instances. On the other side, larger commercial contractors have the scale to jump around among sources and pick the best value proposition based upon, the immediate factors that they're faced with, like the type of project, for instance.
Bill, thanks. Todd, you're a commercial contractor. Do you agree with Bill and Mr. Saucier?
I agree generally, but it really boils down to who takes ownership of the client satisfaction. What I find as a contractor, I take ownership of the project and the materials I install, but I can't do it alone. My name is only as good as the support behind it, so I rely on my distributors to provide the support I need throughout the project. That might be having what I need or what I need it, or stand behind a product if there's a problem. So I'm looking for that ownership.
Thank you. So in this vein, while contractors think brands are very important and will change their pattern of buying to get the brands they want, our research points to widespread brand switching. Overall, the data suggests that some 65% of the survey would consider switching brands, and the chart shows what could motivate that switch. You can see that quality plays heavily, along with innovation. If a competing brand offers demonstrably better quality, a switch can happen. Same for innovation that makes the difference. A good example of innovation is Pass & Seymour's plug-tail wiring device. P&S really upped the overall quality of these wiring devices, like tougher materials so screw guns wouldn't crack them, like a design that cuts a third and more off the install time. When a contractor has a lot of devices to install, switching to plug-tail can save a ton of time, even though it costs more. Tawanda and Sue, what are your thoughts on the contractor's inclination for switching?
It's about promises. A brand isn't just about products. It's about the promises that come along with it. As a brand, when you break a promise, you destroy that trust, and loyalty goes out the window. All of us here at Charlotte Pipe, we take our promises very seriously, which is why we get higher levels of loyalty from our contractors. But it's also recognizing a larger problem, an industry problem, and responding to that problem. In many cases, pipe and fittings supplied by various manufacturers didn't fit well together. This wasn't good for the plumber, and it wasn't good for loyalty to brands. With Charlotte Pipe, there's one source of accountability because we make both. We keep the promise, and in that way, we keep the customer.
To me, brands are like friends. There's something of importance shared between friends, and it's the same between brands and customers. But no matter how strong that bond, you can't rest on your laurels. Friends can drift apart. Other things can interfere. So brands must always be assessing the evolving needs of customers and evolve along with those needs. Brands should also reinforce continually the value of the relationship. So brand communications, especially like we see in consumer marketing, should reinforce the value proposition. We all know Coca-Cola, for instance, and we know what it's about and what it stands for. But Coke never stops communicating their value. That's a very important way to keep friendships alive.
Sue, thank you very much. It's very clear why a manufacturer would want all the brand loyalty it could build. The benefits of real brand loyalty are significant. They include greater likelihood of repeat purchases, more willingness to try a new product or a service from a favorite brand, less time and investment to close the sale of a branded offering, willingness to award a larger share of wallet, willingness to pay a price premium, less sensitivity to price increases, less willingness to try a competitive offering, and more inclination to recommend a brand to peers. And it doesn't take an MBA or a CFO to see how much more market leverage and profit there can be when brand loyalty exists. In fact, consulting firm Bain & Company points this out. Loyalty leaders tend to grow 4 to 8 percentage points above their market's annual growth rates. That is significant. LEK's research certainly indicates that brand loyalty is alive and well. We saw in LEK's graph that when contractors needed to cut costs, they moved buying their favorite brands from distributors to places like big box stores by a factor of 2 to 1. So other than pricing leverage at key times, what else? Bain & Company says we must go well beyond mere customer satisfaction, though, to build loyalty. Deriving strategic advantage from loyal customer relationships requires true differentiation, meaningful, relevant, and beneficial differentiation. A manufacturer we interviewed also named differentiation as a key factor in loyalty building. He said this: when you have a product with meaningful differentiation, like being easier to use or saving time, you can build loyalty. But it's far tougher within commodity categories like conduit and wire. Tougher, perhaps. Impossible? I don't think so. Southwire makes building wire that has the same electrical properties as other wire brands. But as Bill pointed out, Southwire's true and relevant differentiation has not been in the performance characteristics of the product, but how the wire is packaged. For instance, Southwire's innovative coil pack replaces unwieldy, heavy wire spools on the job site. Notice in this ad for coil pack, we used augmented reality and a smartphone app triggered by the image in the ad to run a video demo. Let's take a look at how it works. In Southwire's case, it's building brand loyalty on a difference in material handling, which we all know is a major issue for many contractors, an issue that other wire makers never leveraged. In our interviews, several manufacturers also named service as a key factor in loyalty building. Contractors were emphatic about service. They see it as a golden thread that's woven into the fabric of a brand. A partnership in service is critical for building loyalty and advocacy. Contractors want to get better at what they do, and they want to do it together with brands and distributors in these ways. Education and training imperative. Contractors not only need to know what's new and how something works and delivers benefits, but whether those benefits apply to every single project. They also need to know what codes might come into play and in which jurisdictions. With their favorite brands, contractors expect help in getting them on the spec. Bill, how does Benfield deliver on the service end? What elements of service do your customers really, really love?
I mean, first, I think we like to think we listen well. And while this isn't service per se, this listening tends to generate ideas that create good customer service. I mean, regardless of which Benfield branch we're talking about, we're local to the area, so we have to know the dynamics and customer needs specific to that area. And the contractors that we serve may have specific needs or face location-related situations, codes being one of them. So whether it's technical support, inventory, quoting, delivery, we try and tailor our service to the needs of our customers.
So again, that key question, can we really create brand loyalty with contractors? And if so, how do we do it? Well, our research uncovered some very interesting perspectives from contractors on creating loyalty. Contractors tend to be more loyal to brands that help them work more efficiently and work smarter. Our subjects often connected efficiency advantages with materials, while for tools, they sided more with working smarter. I really like the example of tools that multitask. It's a great point to bear in mind as you think about meaningful differentiation. So let's go to our panelists for their opinions. Sue, you were personally involved with Passon Seymour's Plugtail and many other products that could be classified as commodities. How the heck do you build brand loyalty?
So for me, John, at the core of it all is the customer. If you want to build brand loyalty, then the customer has to be at the center of your business. Loyalty builders need to be obsessive with the customer. Think of it this way. Your marketing department is like a team of detectives. They need to understand, and in this case, we're talking about the contractor's business, how it works technologically, but also how they make a profit. Then they need to address those things from the standpoint of products, differentiated products and services in a way that solves customer problems and helps the customers improve their business.
Great point, Sue. Tawanda, how does Charlotte Pipe approach the task of loyalty building?
Well, given the commodity nature of the pipe and fittings category, setting Charlotte apart and offering contractors a more attractive option is key. In addition to the things I've mentioned already, we focus on building solid relationships throughout the value chain. So for us, the loyalty equation is this: product plus relationship plus service equals loyalty.
So Bill, how would Benfield build loyalty with contractors or support loyalty building for one of your product brands?
To the point earlier, I mean, a distributor's business is a service business, so trying our best to build strong relationships is critical to ultimately building brand loyalty in the process. I mean, interestingly, we have a loyalty relationship with some of our suppliers. For instance, our switchgear division has a tight focus on General Electric and the Cutler Hammer brands. I mean, we try to push out the benefits we derive from this loyalty to our customers and in turn building loyalty with them.
Okay, now Todd, you represent the audience our panelists and our listeners want to build loyalty with. How do you think they should do it?
You can tell what I've said already, that the quality and support are major contributors to my loyalty for brands, but there are other contributing factors. Brands that ask for my opinion, that want continual feedback, get my attention. Feedback drives innovation, and innovation products that save me time and money, or ones that are more powerful or that have more features, get my business and my loyalty.
Thanks, Todd. So Todd, though, what about formal loyalty programs? Does Fortress Enterprises participate in any formal loyalty programs?
Not so much anymore. These programs were a lot more prevalent during the meltdown of 2008 when the housing market crashed. They're good because it's like getting a dividend on your investment, but I believe that the real value is less in the rewards and far more in the relationship. When loyalty programs spark better relationships, it's a true win-win for me.
Thanks, Todd. So let's take a look at some of the more common loyalty programs out there. There's the type of program where a manufacturer collaborates with a leading distributor. In this case, Schneider's APC unit collaborating with Graybar, a large electrical distributor chain. Here, Ferguson, another major distributor, this time in the plumbing category, offers a loyalty program direct to contractors. Of course, the big box stores get in the act with their programs direct to contractors. And then there are programs managed by third parties like Contractor Rewards. Manufacturers can participate with Contractor Rewards under this co-op or umbrella program. This one is created by Eaton, and it's less a rewards program and more an endorsement from Eaton for certain contractors. Participants do get marketing tools and training, though. Here's a manufacturer-sponsored program from Toro called Contractor's Choice. It's all business benefits with a rebate, financing, e-newsletters, and marketing and tech support. But the real question is, are these kinds of programs really successful for the sponsors? Are they worth the money? Principia Consulting suggests they are. In 2015, Principia interviewed over 1,100 contractors and builders to determine the effectiveness of loyalty programs. Principia found that when executed properly, loyalty programs stimulate more rapid growth for participating building product suppliers and contractors too than for firms not participating. There's a dual benefit. Product knowledge and training were among the highest valued benefits for a loyalty program. And by the way, trips and monetary rewards were among the lowest valued benefits. This point was confirmed by one manufacturer we talked to. He said that his brand's experience with points programs for trips or things like airline tickets was not very successful. Now, the programs that were most effective at engendering loyalty and capturing the largest share of wallet were those that combined training and continuing education, plus marketing and sales force, along with merchandise and monetary benefits in last place. Panelists, what are your thoughts on these formal, organized loyalty programs? Tawanda, does Charlotte Pipe even have one?
These are very interesting, and I think generally in high competitive categories like ours, they can be effective. We've looked at programs like these and we've considered them, but in the end we believe the way we work the product, relationship, and service combination, it gives us the edge we need.
Thanks, Tawanda. So Bill, how about you? What do you think about formal loyalty programs?
I mean, Ventfield's had plenty of experience with the loyalty programs in the past, and we have seen success with them and know that they do work. I mean, the programs that we participate in oftentimes give us the opportunity to offer more competitive pricing to our contractors. But, you know, before we do anything, before we jump on any kind of program bandwagon, if you will, and greenlight one, we consider how well it fits our business model and, you know, how it best addresses our customer base.
Sue, from an educator and a marketer's perspective, what are your thoughts?
From my point of view, a loyalty program, like the examples we saw on your slides, is one of several positive marketing tools. They encourage and reward purchasing over the long term, which is important. I do think, though, they are more effective for distributors versus manufacturers because the program can impact a larger basket of goods, all the goods that a contractor needs, rather than just emphasizing one brand or product line.
Thanks, Sue. Here's an example of a loyalty program we worked on with our client CPG, which markets TimberTech and AZEK brands of decking. We've seen strong contractor uptake on this program, and it's because it has the right combination of benefits. There are a number of levels, so it's very inclusive. Plus, levels motivate step-ups throughout the program. Funds are made available for contractor promotion, and CPG provides plenty of personalized tools. Here you can see some of the elements beyond promotional materials: training, certification, leads, even an Angie's List tie-in. I'll reiterate the fact that this program is very inclusive, but what else helped a great deal is how we launched it at the International Builders Show. This was a great way to jumpstart enrollment, and enrollment is one of 5 ways Principia recommends for building successful programs. Here are all 5. You got to make enrollment easy with little, if any, qualification criteria. Once you capture enrollments, motivate participation. The longer the length of tenure in a program, the more loyal the participants. Program tiers, like we have in the CPG example, are very important. A large majority of successful programs are multi-tiered. Limited benefits will limit participation. Offer a variety of useful benefits, and whatever you do, don't forget training. Get sales reps and channel partners on board early. Make sure they understand the programs well, because very often sales reps and distributors sell the program to contractors. Communicate through a dedicated website and, by all means, use mobile and email. Okay then, it certainly seems clear that building brand loyalty is alive and well. We covered a lot of ground today, and we gained a lot of insight and perspective from our panelists, our research, and the resources we shared. Now let's try to boil it all down into some key points that you can take and use to build loyalty for your brands. Point 1, there's no silver bullet. In our view, there is no one single way to build loyalty. Certainly our panel and our research identified a number of major factors to building loyalty. A continual focus on customers, differentiation, service, innovation, relationships. Each of these, all of these, are extremely important. But one alone just doesn't seem to be enough. Now, if I had to keep one thing in mind as I developed and executed my loyalty strategy, it would be those two words right in the middle, customer-centric. If you are truly committed to knowing the customer and how your brand fits in that customer's life, you're on the right track. Point 2, develop the optimum balance. So if it's not one thing that drives successful loyalty building, it's a balance of different factors. Based upon our research and what we've learned about loyalty, the loyalty model looks something like this. There are 4 key things that affect loyalty. To me, the first and most important is promise. What is your brand's promise to the contractor? Faster installs, guaranteed availability, lifetime warranty, consistency of dimensions. Your promise must be relevant and meaningful. That's part 1. Part 2 is even more important, never breaking the promise. Break your promise and you break the loyalty link between your brand and the contractor. Tied closely to promise is products. Products that are innovative and have meaningful differentiation, like Southwire and Pass and Seymour, like those examples we saw today. Third, your products must be durable. They must hold up over time because the last thing a contractor wants is a callback, or worse, a lawsuit. Last, the all-important service relationship element. Support after the sale, on-time delivery, education and training, after-hours service, single shipments, accurate billing. All these things can end up closing the loop on loyalty. And remember, you can have the most innovative product out there, and it can last forever, but if it doesn't show up to the job site when the contractor needs it, or the crew doesn't know how to install it properly, it's going nowhere fast. So in simple terms, to build loyalty, look at your brand and look at what you have to support it. Consider your customers and what they really need to be successful. Then build the best and most competitive mix into your go-to-market strategy. Factor in measurement criteria and you'll be well on your way to a more loyal customer base. Point 3, remember what's really important. That simple message comes from Bain & Company, which offers us 4 tips on how to create more loyal contractor customers. Create strategic and economic value. You'll remember what Bill Burns said early on about the importance of brands. He said that brands become more important when they provide inherent value, true economic value. If your brand can help the contractor be more competitive, you can build loyalty. Prove you can be trustworthy. Today we heard trust mentioned several times, so it's clearly important. But it's not just saying, hey, I can be trusted. It's proving it through unbroken promises and policies that back up those promises. Simplify the contractor's life. Whether it's a lighter product that's easier on older, tired muscles, or one like Plugtail that can be installed by less skilled labor. If your brand can streamline things, eliminate an operation, keep the schedule on track, or multitask, you're not just a product, you're a friend. And last from Bain is, do the things that will make your brand likable. And this point, in fact, all these points are things I'd like to pick up on in point 4. Build friendships. And Sue, thanks for bringing up the importance of friendships. Think for a minute about your best friend and the qualities in that person that brought you together. We thought, why couldn't the relationship between brands and customers be close, like friendships? So we studied great human relationships and great brand relationships, and with the collaboration of a PhD in behavioral psychology, we found that there were 3 common bonds: affection, relevance, and trust. In friendships, there's affection. We like each other and feel comfortable with each other. There's relevance. There is meaning between friends. You often share similar interests and care about similar things. And there's trust. Friends have each other's back. I have 3 quick examples of how we help build stronger brand loyalty through Brand as Friend. Most people wouldn't connect affection with a steel company. But from out of Nucor's own beliefs, business model, and relationships, we humanized the brand and in doing so created new bonds of friendship. This ad talks about how Nucor uses only recycled steel to make new steel for great products. By telling stories that surprise the audience and demonstrate caring and listening, we made a pound of Nucor steel worth more than 16 ounces of ferrous oxide. This ad talks about Nucor's relationship with employees. One fact being that Nucor provides a scholarship program for every child of every employee for every year of post-high school education. Now that's creating closeness. Here's another example of how Brand as Friend works. Hole saws are used to, not surprisingly, cut holes. But the kicker is this. It took more time for the trade pro to pull the wooden plug out of a hole saw than it did to cut the hole in the first place. The Lennox speed slot cut extraction time dramatically. And okay, that was relevant enough. But we decided to deliver the message in a very relevant and very dramatic way by leveraging the contractor's use of computers and smartphones. We combined print advertising with digital display advertising that actually demonstrated the product. We built a mobile website so trade pros could access the message wherever they were, and we drove them to a special website, special microsite, where they could see speed slots, time saving in action, work a virtual demo themselves, and register for a free sample. All very relevant and all very powerful. Our last example for Charlotte Pipe picks up on the points Tawanda made. This campaign illustrates how products, service, and relationships elevate trust and, in turn, loyalty. On the product side, this ad emphasizes the lengths Charlotte Pipe will go to assure consistency from product to product to product. We heard how important availability is for a contractor. This ad makes that point exactly. And this ad is all about thought leadership. In the voice of the specifier, Charlotte Pipe makes a point about the importance of matching the right type of pipe to the type of installation. We've extended the thought leadership approach into digital media as well. Here's the video version of this very ad.
My name is John Neal. I've been a plumbing designer for over 30 years. A plumbing designer designs plumbing systems for new construction and renovations. I got a phone call. We had a problem on one of our projects. Now this project's already done. The owner has occupied for 6 months. The problem was we had a drain problem. The drain problem was the fact that the piping had collapsed, causing the floor to collapse. I said, how does cast iron pipe collapse? Well, it turns out it wasn't cast iron, it was PVC. Somewhere in the process, they value engineered cast iron to PVC, and then the contractor installed it right up to the dish machine. The dish machine poured 190-degree water down it and melted it. So now the owner's got a problem. He can't use his dish machine, and this is an operating hospital. So now they've got to dig up their floor, repair the pipe, redo the floor, all the while trying to maintain meals for their patients. If a healthcare facility accepts a value engineered item, it may save money up front, but in the long run, it's going to affect the engineer, it's going to affect the owner, it's going to affect the contractor, it might even affect the patients. My advice is to always stick with the engineer's or designer's specifications. They call it value engineering for a reason. You're losing value.
Tawanda, what effect has this campaign had on brand loyalty for Charlotte Pipe? Can you really build loyalty within a commodity category like pipe?
Yes, we believe you can. Obviously not through advertising alone, but communications do play an important role. For us, advertising provides a platform. It helps us emphasize what's important to the contractor, like availability and consistency in the product. But it also has given us a platform for expressing our opinions, such as we have done on the subject of value engineering and on non-compliant imported products. This tells our audiences what we stand for, and we know it rings true for them.
So whether you're selling a highly differentiated technical product or a plain Jane commodity, we believe that by using the brand as friend model, you can build stronger brand loyalty. Okay, we're ready to wrap it up. We are deeply grateful to our panelists and all the people we spoke to about the topic of brand loyalty. And of course, to all of you joining us today, many thanks and sincere hopes that you picked up at least one nugget you can put to use to help you bring more loyalty to your brands. We have time for a few questions, and we have one here for Sue. Sue, what's the difference between brand loyalty and brand preference? Aren't they pretty much the same?
No, not at all, really. We talked about the definition of brand loyalty early on. It talked about how a customer would stick with a brand even when faced with other competitive offers. With brand preference, a customer may prefer a certain brand, but will settle for another depending upon the situation. So, for example, you go to a diner for a burger and there's a promotion of free Pepsi with every order. A true Coke loyalist would refuse it and have a glass of water. But someone who was just preferred Coke would be happy to take the Pepsi. So that's the difference. One you'd rather fight than switch.
Thank you. I think we had a question here for Bill. Bill, this one's for you. We have a small business. What you're talking about here seems to require significant budgets. What can a small brand do?
I mean, I think the first thing that you have to do is determine what your brand strategy and positioning is going to be, and in that process, you have to be brutally honest about what you can and can't do and what your capabilities are. And then you have to kind of step back and assess the competition, and then you develop the strategy for the brand. I mean, can you excel in service? Maybe you have a real knack for training that we had talked about, and what's the right balance for you as a company? I mean, whatever it is, build your strategy around a promise that can't be broken, to the point earlier, and then something that'll make you stand out. Then, as you know, like a company like Nike says, just do it. But keep doing it. Don't deviate from that. It's not how much you spend. It's really how consistently you execute on what you're good at and what you've promised to your clients.
Yeah, I think we had one last question that was earmarked for Tawanda. Tawanda, why bother with branding? Isn't having great products enough?
Having great products may be enough, but there are definite advantages to branding. For instance, we have the tagline, "You can't beat the system," and this refers to our system of products, services, and people. These message points are consistent throughout our advertising, but it's also consistent through our marketing and sales, all the touch points within Charlotte Pipe. And these things have helped us differentiate ourselves in what can be viewed as a commodity market. So, yeah, it could be enough, but we are definitely proponents of branding.
Thanks, Tawanda, and thank you, Todd, thank you, Sue, thank you, Bill, and thank all of you out there for joining us today in our analysis, our deep dive into can we build loyalty among contractors? Can we build brand loyalty? And I think we've seen how we can. So thank you all very much. You all have a great day, and we'll welcome you to the next EMA webinar in our building and construction specialty. Thank you, and good day.
Thank you.
Thanks, John.
Thank you.
Thank you.